It's Johnny, and this Cincinnati update and these comments are getting unreal. Few videos in front. Serial killers are white. Hold on, let's get one thing straight right now, because it seems like it's going far right to hate, and then it goes far left to hate. And there's so much excuses from all the black people that are doing the comment. They say, well, 12 on 1. Well, what about that trucker that got his ass kicked by? Well, what about this guy? I was like, the trucker in LA that got hit with a brick? I'll never forget that as long as I live. Pulled him out, and that was all after a black man's going to be accused of murdering his wife. Let's get one thing right. First and foremost, who kills more black Americans than any other category combined? All the other ones combined don't equal what the black man. The black man kills more black Americans than any other. Think about that. Think about it. If we can't stand up and fix the culture in America, you can't even say, somebody with a certain skin tone can't even read a stat and say, who kills the most black Americans every year? Black men. Not black women, not black, young black men is the number one culprit. Police, heart disease, medical, traffic. Young black men kill more. I bet they kill more than anybody ever. And these people, hey, they're on here. Well, look at all the serial killers. Man, you need Corruption Crockett in your life. She is your new. Who's taking Jesse Jackson's and Al Sharpton's? Who's taking all that propaganda bullshit that never fixed anything? Ever. Just gives you more nothing. Blame. It fixes nothing, it doesn't do nothing, and you just sit and ponder on all the reasons why young black men are killing black Americans in record numbers. But hey, don't worry about the group. It was 12 on 1. The guy walked away. I could care less about the Cincinnati dude. I hope he learned. What are you doing living? What are you doing in communities where you're not wanted? Where are you supposed to shop? If you don't shop in white communities, if you don't bank in white communities, I mean, you're just going to have locked doors on everything. Where do you plan on living? Well, we're going to, young black men are killing black Americans in record numbers, and your responses are in the comments. Serial killers are white. That's right. They are. And I've been a sheepdog my whole life. I've always thought about being a criminal. The only part about, since I worked in prison for 12 years, is I honestly believe I could take it over. I was in jail for 26 days on my first DUI in Oklahoma County, the worst corrupt jail system in the United States. I'll bet on it. And I felt like, why? I'm going to take this place over. Why are we always committing crimes against victims that do nothing to influence our lives? There's people in control of the banks, credit union, insurance companies, BlackRock, pharmaceuticals, doctors, DAs. Why not focus all your hate on people that influence your life? Why does it have to be just a random victim? And you know what? I think TikTok doesn't like that. Hey, hold on. You can't. Stop hurting people for one that can't defend themselves. Yeah, that's real nice. That's why 99%. Go up here to your little search bar and look up cheap shots. All the same people. It's all 99% are the same color. Do you want to talk about serial killers? Yeah, that's what creates serial killers. Public school systems create serial killers. It's the square peg in the round hole. Some things just... I had the hardest time in schools, man. I felt like our education system was just regurgitation. It was just, they'll tell you the answers, they'll ask you the questions, and all you got to do is repeat it back. And if you do that well enough, well, they'll move you up a grade, and you can do that there, and they'll just keep, no questions. Hey, hold on a minute. You're telling all these black Americans they're just off a slave ship from the largest continent? That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Our history doesn't start at George Washington when my favorite president is John Hancock. We don't learn about John Hancock. Well, he wrote his name real big on the Declaration of Independence. That's right. He was the acting president. He stood up to the people that are in control of us today. The same people that financed every aspect of slavery. Throughout the world, slavery's worldwide. It's not just one color. These people control everything. They start the world wars. It's all, hey, this is how we're going to do it. They declared war on Germany, and you can't ask any questions about Germany. TikTok will knock your head. Hey, they're the bad guys, and these people are always the victims. No questions allowed. The same people are the victims in everything. So the Palestinian Jew let the Ukrainian Jew in. And 70 years later, the Ukrainian Jew owns everything, and the Ukrainian Jew. So the Palestinian Jew was at the bottom. And they considered themselves the chosen people because they were nonviolent and they didn't finance every aspect of slavery. They're not into compounding interest and debt and just the chains that shackle you today. But don't worry about it. The Ukrainian Jew, who the Germans were standing up to, and then when you start getting into Adolf Hitler's speeches, you're like, we're not allowed to listen to Adolf Hitler's speeches. You know why? They took control of our theater. They took controls of our media. They took control of our newspapers. They are influencing. They're trying to turn our little boys into little girls. Every aspect, every German is in debt. Compounding interest is enslaving the... I'm like, hold the fuck up, Adolf Hitler. Let me do some looking. Who declared war on who? 5 years before World War I? All the Jews united against Germany, who was standing up to get rid of them out of their banking institutions, the control of their media, news, radio, everything, theaters. They were trying to soften the men. And you're telling me nobody's ever stood up to the people that control your media today. Nobody's ever stood up to who controls your courts. Black Americans, your fucking people are getting eaten alive by the court systems. That's why they call them officers of the court. The job of a police officer is to get you to the judge. They're not judges, they're administrators. The DA teaches the cops, use these keywords, never say marijuana, use green leafy substance. These are how the defense has beaten us, and this is how we fix it. We must enslave everybody. Everybody needs a bond, needs to be giving. This corruption, nobody's ever stood up to it, huh? Nobody's ever stood up to mass vaccinations and you had to go to the hospital and die. Nobody's ever stood up to mail-in ballots. And the guy that won the biggest campaign ever never left his basement. They shut the economy down. Nobody ever stood up to that? Nobody ever stood up to insurance companies that don't pay out 30% of the time and 70% they do pay is negotiated. Nobody's ever stood up to... The United States is in $1 trillion of debt, and everybody pays taxes to pay the interest alone. To who? Who does the United States owe, and how much have we paid? It's the people that said you don't own your home, you get a deed, you get a piece of paper. It's the people that say you don't own your car, you get a title. Courts are in control of those papers. You don't even get gold. You get paper. You give them the gold. They'll give you paper. Nobody's ever stood up to it. And these people are in control of our black Americans. And they definitely need our help to protect them. Because they're in control of the rap labels. They are wanting the demise of a group of people. They want them as far gone as they can get them. Laws, differences between cocaine and rock cocaine. Who's in control of this? Never ask a question about the bar. I'm Johnny. Stay safe.